Ja Morant. So this is a story for a variety of different reasons, but it's a business story as well. That's why I want to talk about it. Ja Morant, great player, super talented player. Currently suspended for showing a gun on Instagram in a club. Probably not.
It was a club?
I think it was a gentleman's club.
Yeah, it was a club
in Denver. With no, I don't believe he had a shirt on either. But he's been
important detail.
Yes. So shout out to Ja, man.
Read my notes.
Ja has been doing a variety of interesting things this season, from his crew putting a laser on somebody
on the Indiana Pacers team bus.
Yeah, he's been
What's the league tried to clean up for him?
They said he beat up a 17-year-old. Yeah. The NBA was investigating him first for beating up a 17-year-old.
Sometimes you gotta smack a kid though.
Stop, man. What are you?
I'm just being honest with you.
Don't.
He probably should not.
You
have
smack my kid,
that.
I'm act like Ja.
Okay, let's put it in perspective. Let's put it in perspective. But a lot of these 17-year-olds, 17 is borderline 18. You could say something crazy. I've seen it happen before.
He can't do that.
He should not have done that.
He can't do
if
that.
he did do it.
Allegedly.
A lot of these 17-year-olds are listening to a lot of rap music. You're damn near grown up. If you're 17, you're damn near just watch your mouth.
Victory slap.
Watch your mouth, please. If you're 17 years old.
These thoughts are shared by.
And yeah, these thoughts are mine. My kid's 17. You put your hands on my kid, I'm gonna cash out every stock I got to go get you.
Yo,
be your last game on God.
So,
and don't text me about don't say it.
So,
go ahead.
What'd you say about? What'd you say? I didn't hear you.
I said nothing. I just said if somebody put their hands on my kid at 17, I'm gonna go cash out everything.
Oh yeah. But I mean, you might have to put your hands on a kid at 17. Or deal with the repercussions later on.
But they were investigating. That's the first.
you deal with the look. There's always gonna be somebody's father or somebody's uncle. But yeah, you gotta deal with that later on. It is what it is, right? That goes back to the school. Y'all, I'm gonna get my cousin. Okay.
Step, spin, walk.
Figure that out later. But we're gonna handle this first. We're gonna handle this first.
No, we're talking about
I'm just saying. I'm just being honest.
He can't do that.
I'm just being honest. He's 23.
Yeah, he can't do that.
He's 23. He's not that far removed.
I know, but he can't do that.
Shouldn't have done it.
Yeah,
shouldn't have done it.
Can't do that.
But
so the league was investigating him for that, right? They were watching him closely.
They swept a few other incidents under the table.
It's crazy, but and I saw Gilly posted this the Carmelo interview that they had with $1 million worth of game when he was talking like, yo, the NBA got feds watching. They work with the feds.
Oh yes.
Like, and then Stephen A. said it again. He was like, yo, I try to remind you that they work with. He's under investigation for the slap. The fact that what he did with the gun, it was just like, bro.
No, the gun thing, that was a little too far. But here's the thing. Here's the thing to bring this back. This goes back to the Kanye thing, and it goes back, and it's important. This is important. This is what nobody's talking about, right? When you are a corporate employee, which NBA and players are corporate employees, right? We got to start talking about what's the proper etiquette for corporate employees, and when you have responsibilities that you're not an owner, you're not a boss. These things are
you're a black man
important.
in this country.
Etiquette is extremely important, right? So it's important to handle yourself in a manner that is in conduct to your code of ethics and your employer's code of ethics, right? Mm-hmm. Because it could end up costing you potentially millions of dollars. So whether he was right or wrong, that's a different story for a different day. But when you're an employer, like we're an employer, our employees on a certain level are representations of the company and the brand.
Yep.
So even me, I've had to have conversations with employees before because their behavior probably wasn't the most conducive to what we were trying to portray, right? Mm-hmm. So I have understanding.
You're funny, bro.
I have understanding.
I don't got no paper, Ian. I wish I had paper. I don't got paper.
I can understand why, dealing with corporations, you have to have some level of governance with your employees.
If their actions don't align with the company.
Yeah.
Yep.
With the brand, yeah.
Wait, you stopping there?
No, I want to. No,
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Did you about to say something?
No, go ahead. Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, for men that are ascending, and I know he's still young, and we've all made mistakes. It's okay to get money and not be perceived as tough. Because I think a lot of times when we grow up in tougher environments, we have to like put our machismo or like manhood on display. But I want to be very clear, and being a black man in this country, anything that is aligned with violence scares all the money away. Like most corporations think Kanye is violent. Like, and you saw the reaction to the Will Smith thing last year at the Oscars. I would not be surprised if they don't suspend him for the whole year while he's going to be one of the new faces in the NBA. This is a very tricky situation. The NBA tried to sweep a few other incidents that are not publicly known under the table as we elevate or begin to amass wealth and fame and money. Not saying that we have to change, but we have to move differently because now, like, the investigation is statewide. Like, something happened with him and another kid in Houston. Like, please be careful. And at the NBA game, like, there are feds at every NBA game across the country, every single one, not just some, everyone. Please be careful and be mindful. But Rashad,
I just think once again, I think Ja. Hopefully he can get himself back on track. But it's just an important My mom used to always tell me like a smart person learns from his mistakes, but a wise person learns from the mistakes of others. So we have fun with all of these Kanye, but on a serious note, it's important that we learn from the mistakes of others. Because when you're in your corporate environment, right, you have to be careful what you post on Instagram, right? You have to be careful what you post on Facebook. So this is on a big scale and millions of people watch it, but this happens every day. Mm-hmm. This happens every day to the teacher that, posts something crazy on Instagram and only has 500 followers, so doesn't really think about it. And then it comes up on a school board meeting and now they're fired, right? Or this happens when somebody goes to a basketball game and does something crazy and then their pictures in the newspaper and now they're fired. So this is something that's extremely important. What happens on the internet never really goes away. It never gets deleted. So for the young people, but for the older people as well, be extremely careful about the image that you're curating online, because we're all curating images online. If you have an Instagram profile, if you have a Twitter, if you have Facebook, if you have TikTok, you're curating the image that you want the world to see. So be mindful of that, because sometimes, you're just in the moment. You're not really thinking about it. I'm sure he wasn't really thinking about it in the moment. He's just like, I'm on Instagram Live. This is what the vibe is. He might have had a drink or two. Like, you're not really thinking about it. But one decision can cost you a lot. So this is important for people to learn and for people to think about when you're in your day-to-day life, right? Like, be extremely careful about what you're showing, the type of image that you're portraying. And, it's to the point where it could be a little daunting, where it's like, damn, I got to think about everything. Yeah, unfortunately, this is the world that we live in. If there was no social media, then maybe you can get away with a lot of stuff. But everything you post, think about it before you post. Anytime you go live on Instagram, think about it before you go live on Instagram. Anytime you do anything in public, think about it, because some stuff can stay with you and some stuff can haunt you. And you never know what can happen. You could do something when you're 20 years old, not really think about it, and then it's like 35, you're trying to run for governor, and then they bring back what you did when you're 20. So just be mindful, because this is an important, not only just for business, but just for life in general. Like, you got to be extremely important about the image that you're portraying, because we're all portraying an image. So think about the image that you want to portray and curate that and hold that very, very close knit.
Yeah. It's unfortunate, man. Like you said, he is very young. He's 23 years old. Did he make a horrible mistake? Yes. But we should be learning, right? When I first heard about the gun, the first thing I thought, and maybe some of the kids are too young, but I thought of Gilbert Arenas. And we watched what happened to him, right? But Gilbert Arenas has freedom. The other side of the story was Cretington, right, who was the other person that was engaged in that. And he's had some troubles in his life and is in prison now. But these are the outcomes that we make that are facing us if we make poor decisions when we're younger. So like, yeah, Ja's suspended for 2 games, but if he knows how the CBA is constructed, if he was in Denver when he had that, that means he must have had it on the plane, which automatically leads to a.
Which if he did,
right,
that
now you're moving that
crazy.
across state, and so now that leads to a even lengthier suspension. He's at the point right now where he just got his rookie contract and he's going to extend for $200 million, right? He just put out his Nike shoe, right? He's about to become the face of Nike. Obviously, LeBron's retiring. They lost Kyrie. Kevin Durant is, up there in years.
They sabotaged
He's the
Kyrie.
next guy
If
in
we're gonna be
line
fair.
for Nike. That jeopardizes that. He also was about to release his Power 8 campaign. The same day that came out, the Power 8 campaign was launched. He puts that in jeopardy. And so you're making these decisions, but also, hopefully, and this is what he'll learn from it, is like who he is surrounded by, right? Because when you're that young, you still got your friends around, and that's something that we've had to learn, right? As you go and you grow,
Yeah.
that spiral goes up. Everybody can't come. They'll suffocate when the air gets too thin up there, right? And so he'll have to learn that. Hopefully he does, and hopefully I know his dad is in his life. He'll be guiding him through this process as well. But it's a learning lesson. It's an unfortunate one. But I guess the brightest thing from it is that no one was hurt, right? Like no one was hurt. We've seen incidents with athletes, especially the 2 young men at Alabama, where we've seen people be killed because of mistakes, right? The gentlemen were not charged. Well, they weren't charged with felonies, but they were charged with misdemeanors in the Alabama case. But these guys are young, man. They got their whole future ahead of them. And vast decisions that happen so quick.
That played for the Giants that shot himself in the foot. He did 3 years.
Plaxico.
Yeah, Plaxico Burress.
Plaxico.
He won a Super Bowl.
Well,
and then went into a club.
And pulled the trigger.
And he was at the height of his career.
Yeah.
One of the best receivers in the NFL. Went to the club with a gun on, similar to Ja. Shot himself. So what happens is that
he was also having some off the field troubles, though. I'll put it like that. You know that.
But I'm just saying he shot himself. So now what happens is that you're injured, you go to the hospital, but you also having an unregistered gun in New York is illegal. So he ends up doing 3 years in jail for having an unlicensed gun. So, this kind of thing it's not like he's the first person to do this.
Nope.
But you just gotta learn from other people's mistakes.
Yep.
When keeping it real goes wrong.
My graduates from my school being Forbes, bag drop.
Bag drop.
A mic drop, bag drop.
Bag drop.